Hi there, my name's Darren Rouse and welcome to this special ProBlogger ScreenFlow where I want to walk you through a tool that I've been using since January of this year that has really changed the way that I do social media. It's saving me a whole heap of time and is increasing the results that I'm getting in terms of driving traffic and deepening reader engagement with my community on both ProBlogger here but also on my main blog, Digital Photography School. I've been using Edgar now since I think it was the 28th of January, and I started using it because ProBlogger readers started telling me that I should check it out. I did a video late last year, late in 2014, where I walked readers through exactly how I do my social media, and as a result of that video, people were like, you need to check this out. This is going to fit exactly in with what you're doing, and it's going to end up saving you a whole heap of time. And so I went over to Edgar and I checked it out. And at first I was a little bit put off because it was a $49 a month tool, which I know is going to put some people off. But as I began to do the sums as to the amount of time that it was going to save me over time, and as I read other people reviewing the product, I realized that it was going to effectively save me putting on a virtual assistant, which was going to cost me more than the $49 a month in the long run. So I decided to check it out, give it a go for a couple of months and see whether it was right for me. And it was. It's not going to be right for everyone, and I'll talk a little bit about who it probably is good for towards the end of this video. But I wanted to show you how I use it, and so you can make a good decision for yourself. Now, I want to say right up front, I'm not an affiliate for this product. I'm not making anything off this video, but Edgar is a sponsor of our podcast, so there is a relationship there, and I wanted to be really clear about that right up front. Having said that, I am a paying user of the tool and continue to pay for it today, and have been using it now as a paid member since the start of the year. So I've invested into it, and it may be right for you. Before I show you it, I want to talk a little bit about how I was doing social media before this. Up until this point, and in the video that I did show late last year, most of my social media activity was happening on Facebook, particularly for Digital Photography School, and I was really neglecting Twitter. I knew Twitter was a social network that my readers were using, but I didn't have time to really do much on it. And as a result, my Twitter accounts were quite embarrassing. And I hadn't really shown them to you as an example or as a case study because I was a bit embarrassed of them, both on Digital Photography School, but also particularly on the ProBlogger Twitter account. Up until that point, it was pretty much just the Twitter accounts were just dragging in automated updates from the site. So whenever we published something new, it would automatically go onto Twitter. And occasionally I would chime in with a personal comment, particularly on the ProBlogger Twitter account. And that was about it. There was no visuals. The content really wasn't that interesting. And I knew I was not highlighting my archives as much as I could, and in the same way that I was on the Facebook account. And so Twitter was particularly an area I wanted to up my game in or shut down the accounts because it was getting embarrassing. We were actually starting to get complaints from readers that we weren't really engaging in those spaces or doing anything interesting there. So when I started to test Edgar, it was particularly Twitter that I was interested in. We have used Edgar a little bit for Facebook, and I may show you a little bit of that later, but particularly today I want to focus upon Edgar and the way we use it to bring alive our Twitter accounts. So let's get straight into it, and hopefully this will be helpful for you. Okay, so let me start off by showing you the library. Now, this is going to be a little bit overwhelming because Edgar at the moment is driving two accounts for me, or lots of accounts actually. It's driving social media for our Digital Photography School site, but also ProBlogger. And I'm going to focus in on ProBlogger here, particularly the ProBlogger Twitter account. So what you're seeing on the screen now is the library. And this is where all of the social media updates that I have created are living. Now, the powerful thing about Edgar is that it takes the updates that you create for your social media accounts and it keeps them forever, and it enables you to reuse them. And this is something that I'd realized I'd been doing on my social media accounts. I've been putting all this effort into creating social media updates, creating graphics, thinking about the calls to action that I would have, and getting those tweets and Facebook updates in place. And then they would go out and then they'd disappear and I would never be able to use them again. And really what Edgar enables you to do is to create a social media update and then to use it again and again and again for as long as you want to continue to use that update. So the work you do today is going to help pay off tomorrow and forever, or at least until you decide that that tweet or that Facebook update is no longer relevant. So what you're seeing here on the screen is the updates that I've got. Now you can see here a lot of digital photography school ones. So I want to focus in here on the Pro Blogger ones in particular. So this is the library, this is all the latest stuff, and you can see here on the left some categories. I want to also show you the category tab here. You can see right up across the top there's different things. I've just clicked on the category one, and these are the different categories of types of content that I have created. Again, you're seeing some digital photography school ones, which are all DPS, and then PB, so Pro Blogger. You can see here I've set up a category for Pro Blogger evergreen posts, and this is the largest one that I've got at the moment. So these are all the posts that I've got in my archives that I've added so far that have an evergreen nature to them. These are posts that don't date. You can see here I have got Pro Blogger PB slides, and these are screenshots of some of the keynote slides that I've used. PB quotes are some of the Pro Blogger quotes that I have come up with. Some of them are my own statements, but many of them are things that I admire that other people have said. We've got the PB podcast here. These are updates from the podcast. And so you can see as I go back to the library tab, that some of these now can be viewed by those categories. So I can look here at PB Evergreen and click on that, and it will load for me just the updates that I've done that have an evergreen nature for Pro Blogger. And so you can see here, I've now added 347 of these, and I update new ones every day. You can see here the podcast, PB podcast. These are updates that are podcast related. And so there are 48 of those. PB quotes, there are 38 of those. PB slides, these are just the slides that I've done again for my keynotes. So they're the main categories that I've set up for particularly for Pro Blogger. Now I want to show you how to add a piece of content. It is really quite simple. It's just a matter of clicking Add New Content here, and then selecting the category of content that you want to relate. So what I'm going to do here is take this piece of content, which is a post on the Pro Blogger podcast. You grab the URL, go back to the right tab there. I'm going to select the category of PB podcast. I'm going to paste in the URL. I'll go back to the post and copy this subtitle because I think that will make a good post title. And now I'm going to select which account I want this to go up on. So I'm particularly interested here in getting this up onto the Pro Blogger Twitter account. So I'll select that. Now I have the opportunity to add a picture. So I have a picture sitting on my desktop that is relevant for this one. So I'm going to click that and it will upload that particular picture. Takes a moment to do, and there it is. So this post now is ready to go into the library. Now I can at this point select to send it at a specific time, but I don't want to do that. I just want it to go into the library at this point. So I'm going to click Save to Library, and there it is in the library. So if I go back to the library now, you will see this is the post that I just added that is now in the library. And if I go to PB Podcast, you'll see it's in that particular category. Ascertain there. So that's how simple it is. Let's add one other one. This is a blog post that just went live in the last week or so that I'm now going to add. So I'm going to add the link. I'm going to select PB Evergreen because this post has an evergreen nature to it. I'm going to select the title. Now I could make this title a little bit more interesting if I had the time to show that to you right now, but you can see what I've done there. I'm going to add an image that again I've already put aside there on the desktop, but it's the same image that was in the post. And then I'm going to add it to this particular Twitter account. I could also do it to a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page, but at this point I'm just going to add it into the library for Twitter. and I will save it to lighter. Unfortunately, it's telling me that the text is too long, so I'm going to get rid of a little bit of it, which is nice of them to warn me of that, and it should be now ready to go into the library, and there it is. If we go back to the library screen, you will see that it is now at the top, and so we have PB Evergreen. Now, I'm going to show you in a moment what happens next, but while we're on this library screen, I just want to show you some other ways that you can get content in. So if you click the bulk actions, there is a few other ways that you can add pieces of content. You can import from a CSV. I have not used this option, but if you would prefer to add all of your updates into some sort of a spreadsheet and then upload them this way, this is a quick way to do that. You can also add from an RSS feed, which may be particularly useful for those of you who have a blog and you want to get your new posts in this way. Unfortunately, as far as I have seen so far, it doesn't bring in images as well. So it's not a not an option that I have used, but I have seen some people use that particular option. They've actually brought in RSS feeds for other people that they trust. So you may have another blog that you follow in your particular area of expertise and you just want to tweet out everything that they do. I've seen people do that, or you could do it from your own. And the other way to do it is just the bulk. This is more of an editing feature, and hopefully that will load for me. This is just a way to edit all of the pieces of content in your archives very quickly, so you can actually go back down and make changes and then make a bulk edit, I guess, there. It's not a tool that I've used a whole heap, but if I was wanting to change the category of a whole heap of posts and put them into a new category, that would be the way that we do it. So there are a few different ways that you can get content in, but I use the manual way, and I do that every single day. Next tab I want to show you is the schedule tab. Now this is going to be quite overwhelming as it loads for you, because this is the schedule of tweets and Facebook updates that I've got going across all of my tabs at the moment. So this is, you can see here, this one here is a DPS post, and it's going up onto a Twitter account as well as a Facebook page. What I'm going to do here is to just make this a little bit simpler and to just show you the schedule for the ProBlogger Twitter account. Okay, so what you're seeing there is just the ProBlogger Twitter account schedule. I will say when I first started using Edgar, it was not this complicated because I didn't have much content in the library, and I didn't want to overwhelm my Twitter followers with the same piece of content showing all the time. But here you can see that I've slowly developed a more complex schedule for my Twitter account. Now, if you can see here the detail of these, most of them are PB Evergreen. Remember, PB Evergreen was the evergreen pieces of content on ProBlogger, and this was the category that I have the most content in. There's over 300 posts in this category already, and I'm adding more every day. So these are the most regular ones. You can see there that it's happening, I think there's about 7 or 8 times per day, maybe a little bit more of the evergreen posts. But I've also, in the mix, got at least one PB slides every day. There's a PB quotes. And so you can see here that at different times of the day, I have different types of content going up onto the Twitter account. And I've tried to mix them up. During the peak times of day, which is showing here sort of 12 a.m. through to 5 a.m., and that's Australian time. That's actually the peak of the day in America, where most of my followers are. So I have scheduled more tweets in those times, and then during this time of the day, there's less tweets. I kind of give my followers a bit of a break during that rest of the day, because most of my followers are asleep then, but I still do have content going out at that particular time of day. Now, again, there's hundreds of tweets scheduled here on this. I guess there's 100 or so for the week. But when I started, it was much simpler. But as I've added more content, I'm able to increase the frequency of my tweets. Remember here that on Twitter, people are not seeing all of your tweets. And so I think it's probably okay to go a little bit higher frequency on Twitter. If I was to show you our Facebook schedule, and in fact, maybe I should do that. This is the Facebook account of Let's get rid of that one and add in, do you like photography? So this is a Facebook page that I have. You can see there that we have less Facebook updates. I think there's 10 in the day, and this is a fairly high frequency of posting. And we've got there 3, 6, 9, 10 per day. And so this is that particular Facebook page. But on the Twitter account, we can go at a higher rate of posting. So this is the schedule. Once you've got your schedule, once you've got some content in your library, it then goes to work for you. So I've added posts into the library. I've now told Edgar when I want tweets to go out. And now it is forming the queue. And so now I'm going to show you the queue. And again, I'm going to just drill down here to the Twitter account. And you can see here that the 2 pieces of content that I just added are at the top of the queue. These are the 2 posts that are going to go out next. So at the next available time slot that I have in my schedule at 4:03 p.m., this tweet will go out on my Twitter account. And then at 8 p.m. tonight is the next time that I have a post scheduled for the podcast. And so that piece of content that I just added is going to go there. And then it looks for the next piece of content, and these are older ones that I've added in before. And you can see here, these are all the next tweets that are going out on the ProBlogger Twitter account. And they come from a variety of the categories. Again, the evergreen ones are most regular, but you can see there are slides one, you can see there are a podcast one, and if I keep going, there's a quotes one as well. So now you're seeing the queue. There's a couple of other things that you can see here on the queue. This particular button allows you to skip that particular update. So if you look at your queue and you go, that one's not particularly relevant for now, or I've just been talking about that, or it might be better for later, you can press skip there and it will allow you to skip that piece. Or if you want to update those pieces of content, you can click the edit button and it will take you to a page where you can edit that and change the text, add a new image, put a different link, make it a different category, or put it into a different social account. So that is the queue. They are the 3 kind of main tabs that you'll want to look at. And there are a few other things that we might want to look at as well. So we have the statistics tab up the top, and this gives you some useful metrics on how your tweets or your Facebook updates have gone. Okay, so we can see here, these are the last 30 days of stats, and if I'm wanting something extra from Edgar, it would be that they go longer than 30 days. It would be great to be able to see those sort of stats for a longer period of time, but certainly it is useful to have some stats here, and you can also put these into different orders. So I can actually say, I want to see over the last 30 days which social updates got the most likes. And again, I can drill down here just into the ProBlogger Twitter account and do that. And I can say, what were the tweets that I did that got the most likes? So this particular one got 38 likes, it got 3 shares. Or what got the most shares? Or on Twitter, this is talking about retweets. So this particular, it's a funny graphic actually, got the most shares, and it always does. So I can drill down even further and have a look at what actually happened for that, and there's the actual tweet. So it's a fairly, nothing particularly useful, but those type of things do get. So look here again, and this is, again, it's another quote. So the quotes do quite well. Now, if over the last 30 days, this had been tweeted out multiple times, there would be multiple dates here. And so you can actually begin to see, this one may have gone out twice in that period. Maybe that's why it got the more of the shares. So that is the statistics tab. I would love it. One of the things that I would love from Edgar is to actually see some sort of traffic or clicks here. One of the good things about this is that it allows you to use Bitly, and it does sync with Bitly. So I think it's in the settings tab here. You can add your Bitly account there, but it would be nice if it would actually track that and sync with Bitly on that. But of course, you can go to your Bitly account and look at that kind of information if you'd like. Let's look at the accounts tab here. Edgar does work with a variety of different networks. Hopefully they'll continue to expand it. It would be nice if it had Pinterest, I guess, and maybe Google Plus or some of the other networks. But here you can see that you can sync Edgar and use it with a Facebook profile, with your Twitter accounts, and you can have multiple Twitter accounts, your LinkedIn profile, also a LinkedIn company, and also you can use this on a LinkedIn page, which is what I use it for, and a group. So if you're doing Facebook groups and you've got content that you just want to go out every now and again and highlight some of those old pieces of content, or you just want to do every Monday, you want to put a post up that says, Monday is motivation day, and so you have a motivational quote, or Wednesday is what is your win this week, and you want to just have the same update go every Wednesday, you could do that as well in here, I guess. So there's different accounts that you can have there. I particularly at the moment am mainly using it for Twitter, but also this account here, our Do You Like Photography page, I'm using it with as well. Now, one of the questions I always get about Facebook pages and using third-party tools like this or any of the other third-party tools is, doesn't it limit your reach? I've really watched it carefully. For a long time, I didn't use Edgar on any Facebook page. But then I thought, well, let's test it. And so I started using it on that Do You Like Photography Facebook page. It's not my main Facebook page, but it's one that I use as a bit of an experiment. And for a few weeks, I just did one post per day using Edgar. That post did just as well as any of the other posts I did manually. So I began to increase it to 2 posts a day, to 3 posts a day, and now that page is completely run by Edgar. I don't update anything on it, and it hasn't changed how those posts are being received at all. So at least in my experience, it hasn't. Having said that, I haven't done this on my main page yet. It's something that I'm still umming and ahhing about. I do like to be able, particularly on Facebook, to be able to tweak things a little bit and to add more personal kind of touches in there. And so for us, it's just something that I'm using on Twitter rather than the other accounts. So that's Edgar. There's a few things that I guess I would say about this particular service. There's a few things that maybe it's worth saying that are good about it. The best thing about it, obviously, is that in the long run, this is going to save a whole heap of time. I can see that there is going to come a time where I will spend a whole heap less time in Edgar. I'm still, though, in the phase of adding new content in. And so it is worth saying that it does take some time to get Edgar up and running to a point where it's effective. But once you've added all your content in, it's going to save you a whole heap of time. The approach I've taken to get Edgar populated with content is to do a little bit every day. And so every day I add the new posts in that I've just published. So on Digital Photography School, to drive the Twitter account there, I'm adding the 2 new posts that I've done every day into Edgar. And then I'm also looking back to this day last year and this day the year before and this day the year before that to get any evergreen content that I have from previous years, this day of those years, and I'm putting those into Edgar every day. So it's going to take me a whole year to get all of my archives in. This was the best way for me to work out how to do it because I've got thousands of posts in our archives. I think there's over 7,000 posts, and it was just going to take me way too long to go through them all individually, so this was the system I used. So it's a little bit of work every day for this first year, but once I get to 28th of January, which is when I started doing this, I've got a whole heap less work to do. And all I'm going to have to do is add in my new pieces of content. And then it will be a whole heap less work, and Edgar will begin to work for me in a way that is even more powerful than it has been to this point. So there is some work that you need to do to get this up and running, or a virtual assistant perhaps needs to do. But once you're satisfied that you've got a good amount of archived content in there in your library, Edgar goes to work for you, and you can step back and focus on something else. I love that you can categorize the different social updates that you do. So you can say, I want that evergreen content to go out, 3 or 4 times a day or 10 times a day, but I just want my quotes to go out once a day, or I want them to go out at 6 a.m. every day, or I just want them to go out on Wednesdays and make Wednesday the motivational day. You can use those categories in all kinds of different ways to do theme days or to do certain times of the day for certain types of things. And that gives you a whole heap of flexibility. And it also allows you to highlight different types of content, different amounts of times as well. So for instance, you might have a category just for promotional things where you promote your ebooks or you promote your speakers page. You don't want that kind of content going out all day, every day. And so to be able to put that in a specific category that only goes out a certain amount of times, it gives you some freedom in that way. What I would say in terms of Twitter particularly, I found my Twitter accounts are getting a whole heap more traction than they ever did. To be able to set these tweets up and to craft the tweets and to get them looking nice with some good images and then to have that continue to work for me over time is just gold. I love it. And I'm getting more retweets. I'm getting more loves or likes on my tweets, but I'm also, most importantly for me, getting more traffic over to my site from Twitter than I'd ever had before. And the same thing is true on the Do You Like Photography Facebook page as well. It's going really well and it is converting and it's having an impact upon my business as a result of that. And it's not embarrassing anymore to point people to my Twitter accounts because my Twitter accounts now are full of useful tweets that are visually pleasing and that I'm kind of proud of. I will say that I am supplementing my Twitter accounts, particularly on the ProBlogger Twitter account. It's not just fully automated of just old blog posts. I'm adding in my own personal tweets. I'm adding in photos from Instagram. So there's me in the midst of it all as well. I'm also asking discussion questions and trying to get engagement in that way as well. And so I think that's when a Twitter account works best, when you've got some of this automated stuff, but you're also able to add some of your own in as well and to answer questions and to be engaging with people as well. It's fantastic when you want to take a week off. I love it. So if I'm going away for a week, I no longer have to schedule 100 tweets for that week and work doubly hard the week before just so I can take a holiday. I'm able to go away knowing that Edgar is keeping my Twitter accounts moving along for me, which saves me a whole heap of work. I will say that Edgar's particularly useful if your blog has a lot of evergreen content in terms of highlighting your archives. If you have a news blog or if you have maybe more of a personal blog where you're talking about your life and that content perhaps isn't as evergreen, it may not be as useful for you. But if you have a blog that is a how-to blog, has tutorials or some other kind of content that is evergreen and your old posts are still as useful as your new posts, then this is perfect for you and I would encourage you to check it out. Now I want to talk a little bit about the price. I did mention before, this is a $49 a month. You can actually see it there on the screen. It's $49 a month. And I know that is expensive for many ProBlogger readers. That is not something to just be sneezed at and laughed away. That's money that you could be using for something else. And I actually balked at that price when I first saw it. I was like, $49 a month, that adds up over time. But like I said before, I was actually at the point of considering getting a virtual assistant in to help me with my social media accounts. And I still may actually do that at some point to help with this process, but also to do some other social media accounts and some other social work. But this has enabled me to put off doing that. And it's also saved me a whole heap of money. If I'd actually had someone in to look after my social media accounts and to do it all manually, they would be doing the same tweets over and over again, and I'd be paying them to do the same work multiple times. And I think in the long run, this has saved me a whole heap of work and money from that perspective. So if you do have, if your blogs are at that level where you're able to afford this type of service or you're thinking about a virtual assistant, this might be an alternative, or it may actually be able to cut down the amount of work that you need to give to a virtual assistant. So a few tips on how to use it, and I've touched on some of these before. Obviously, this is great if you have evergreen content. So use it more for that evergreen nature. You don't want to just have the same tweet going out over and over again over the years if it's no longer relevant after the first while. So if we do a post on ProBlogger that is about a news type post, or if on Digital Photography School we're reviewing a camera, I probably don't want that going out forever. So there's other ways that you can get that type of content into your Twitter stream for a shorter period of time. Obviously, it works best when your content is high quality I would highly recommend that you add images wherever possible into the tweets and Facebook updates that you do. This significantly increases the engagement that you'll get and the results that you'll get. I was actually just looking through my Twitter stream the other day of the people that I follow, and I was amazed how many people don't have images in their tweets. I know for a fact that any tweet that I have with an image in it is 4 or 5 times more likely to get a retweet or a like or a share or a comment or a reply or the click through. So add images in wherever possible. Add in extra content. Don't just let it be your Twitter stream be fully automated. You do want to add in some of the more personal stuff, asking questions, perhaps sharing links to other sites. You could do some of this from within Meet Edgar because it enables you to put a tweet in and only ever use it once. But I tend to use some other tools as well. So Edgar is not the only tool that I'm using. I'm also using Sprout Social, which I use to schedule posts that I just want to go out for a short period of time and just to engage with people. And then I also use CoSchedule. And this is probably worth talking about a little bit. CoSchedule is editorial calendar that you can sync with WordPress, and it enables you to set up some tweets and Facebook updates from within WordPress. And I particularly do this for the first week or two after a post goes live. When I publish a new post on Digital Photography School, I want it to go up on my Facebook page and my Twitter account pretty much straight away, and then I want it to go up about a week later, and then I want it to go up about a month later. I want to give the newer content more frequency of being seen, and then once it gets to that sort of month-old type time, I then put it into Meet Edgar. And so I do use some other tools, and am paying for those tools as well. Obviously, I'm in a position of being able to do that as a full-time blogger. Images are key. Another quick tip, don't overwhelm your followers. You need to really think carefully about that frequency that you set up for your schedule. I started slow. I started with Meet Edgar just 4 or 5 posts per day to my Twitter account. That was partly because I didn't want the same content being shown all day, every day. And so I was increased that frequency as I added more content. But also, you just got to be careful about how many times you do update to your followers. I know there have been people I've followed on Twitter who update every 10 minutes. And I can see it happens every 10 minutes, and I unfollow that kind of person just because I can't handle that frequency of tweets. So my tweets tend to go out no more than once an hour, and there are times during the day where we give our readers even 2 or 3 hours between tweets. Any more than that, I begin to get pushback from my readers, and I see people beginning to unfollow us. So just be careful, add in gradually, monitor how your tweets are going, monitor the reactions that you get from people to find out what that perfect frequency is for you. And the last tip I'll give you is that it does take a little bit of time, and perhaps just take the approach to add content into your library a little bit by little bit over time. And certainly for me, I've found that I'm probably spending about 10 minutes per day adding content into the library, which isn't a whole heap more than I was spending to schedule my tweets and Facebook updates previous to Edgar. And that's enabling me to get hundreds, I'm up to thousands of posts in my archives now. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about how we use Meet Edgar. You can go to meetedgar.com/ProBlogger to sign up for your own trial. It's $49 a month, and see whether it's right for you. Again, I'm not an affiliate. That tracking code is just the code that we use on our podcast for them as a sponsor, and it enables us to kind of just monitor, how this is going for Meet Edgar as well. So meetedgar.com/ProBlogger, and you can sign up to give it a go for yourself. Hopefully this is useful for you. I know many ProBlogger readers already use Edgar, so I'd really be interested to see how you use it. I'm just using it in one way, and I've seen other people use it in different ways. And so if you are using it a little bit differently to me, I'd love to see that in the comments underneath this post and underneath this video on Facebook as well. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and I'll chat with you soon.